Ladies and gentlemen, the show we've all been waiting for, Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present REP Paranormal and Friends with your hosts, Kim Purvis and Allison Robinson. Live every Thursday night on Spreaker, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Be sure to check out their Facebook page, REP Paranormal Busters.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Everybody, and welcome to another night of REP Paranormal and Friends. Tonight we have a special guest. We have Kevin Killen on tonight, so welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm better now since, it's the weekend's coming up, so...
That always makes things a lot better, yes.
Yes, it does, for sure. So, for some of our listeners who may not know who you are, if you want to just give us a little bit of background on yourself.
Sure. Like I said, my name is Kevin Killen. I'm an author. I guess I get pigeonholed with the whole paranormal author. I have my book out called Ghosts and Me. Basically, it chronicles my life with the paranormal since about the time I was 5 until currently. I work in a very active haunted facility right now, so that's always fun. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia. I'm a native Virginian. I've lived in a couple different places, and just doing my thing, I guess.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. I know you said you had experiences about the age of 5. Can you elaborate on what your first experience was?
Sure. At the time, I lived in Evanston, Illinois, with my mother and my 3 brothers and my father. My father was a journalist, and he went to a lot of different places to cover events, and I think this particular night he had gone to St. Louis to cover a basketball tournament when he took my brothers with me, so it was just me and my mother, and we had a downstairs right off of the kitchen where we'd eat in front of the TV, and I distinctly remember listening to footsteps upstairs and turning to my mother and saying, who was that? And my mother saying to me, that was my little boy. And I didn't know what that meant because I was the only little boy in the house. So that kind of was, that was a little strange. But later she told me that she did that because she didn't want to scare me because she thought somebody broke into the house.
Oh, yeah.
But and that was the first time there was nobody in the house. It was a very old, turn of the century brick, huge. It was a very huge house. A lot of stuff went on, I guess, after that or before that. But that was my first one, the first time, and I'll never forget that because it was, distinct footsteps above us from a human, and there was nobody there.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Yeah, so about your book. We'll just kind of get into this because this kind of ties in with everything. But your book, Ghosts and Me, kind of explains about all the journeys that you've had from the different places that you lived and all of the experiences that you've had in those places, which is pretty cool. I don't know if it's with, you go in and talk about how one person that you lived with was a psychic, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and so you you had experiences there. It's like just about everywhere you've been, it seems like you have some kind of experience. Is that?
Yeah, it's me. I finally figured that much out.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was kind of getting. I'm like, was it the who you were living with at the time, or if it was actually you? But kind of reading through your book, it's like, well, maybe they do follow him. And I know you had that one that followed you. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now. I thought I wrote it down.
Elizabeth.
Yes, Elizabeth. That's right.
Yes.
Does she still follow you around?
No. She moved on, which is probably a good thing. So I'm hoping she's in a lot better place. But yeah, she stayed in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Very good. That's what I was kind of wondering, because she had been following you, and so I didn't know if she was still with you or if she had finally moved on, or how that turned out. But so basically, in your book, like I said, you discuss all of the experiences that you've had. Do you want to elaborate on some of those? Like, what was your most memorable one?
I'd probably have to say the first EVP that I ever captured. Mm-hmm. I was fresh out of high school. This was the early 90s, and I lived in Falls Church, Virginia, which isn't too far from where I'm at now, mm-hmm. in Alexandria. And I lived in a house that was pretty crowded. We had, my family and their friends and my friends. So there was usually a lot of traffic in there. So you never really got any peace and quiet at all. But this one particular night, everyone actually left the house. And I was like, wow, So I'd been in the paranormal, for years, since I was a kid, reading every book. I can get my hands on things like that. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna try and get an EVP, and I had one of those old boom boxes with the detachable speakers, and I'm sure people, hopefully around my age, would remember that.
I remember those boom boxes with the detachable. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, good, because I know I've actually talked to some people I work with that are millennials, and they look at me like I've got two heads. So. You're like, what? That's not like a MP3 player? I said, no. We're going to the phone booth territory now.
Right.
So
yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I had one of those, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I went ahead and hit record and play, and asked them. I said, if there's anybody here, please show me. And went about my business. Went to a friend's house for about an hour. Came back, rewound the tape. And about right towards the end, I first noticed some drumming, like somebody was actually drumming on top of the radio. And I was like, what is this? Because there's nobody in this house. So then right at the very end, and I hate to use the word demonic, but that's basically how it was, said, I have shown you, ha ha. And I about fell out of my chair because it scared the hell out of me so much that this voice came and answered my question right at the very end of the tape, and I basically ran out of the house. So that was one of the more memorable ones that I've ever had. And I as I tell this story, I still hear the voice in my head, and it's just kind of, gives me chills still.
Right, yeah. And that's the one, yeah. Is that the one that the tape got eaten?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes,
yeah, I was like,
yeah,
that is just so crazy how, things kind of do happen like that. Like, I know I had a recorder, and, I know I brought it home with me, and I'm like, oh, I know we got some good stuff on here, because we had stuff going on all night, and I'm like, can I find it? No. Disappeared. Totally gone. I don't know what's happened to it. It'll probably show up eventually, but...
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh my gosh, there was some really good stuff on there. I just know it, but it happens. I think they like to play with you a little bit. And
yeah, and I actually did find out that later on, as I studied that a little bit, is that's not uncommon for, excuse me, for that to happen, the tape to get eaten or the batteries to die,
right?
Things like that. So yeah, it was very disheartening because everyone thought I was crazy. And I was like, no, I'm not crazy. I want to prove this to you. And, well, I couldn't, because when I tried to rewind the tape, it got eaten. And it was those Maxells. So it was lost. I couldn't recover it. And I was so mad.
That would suck. That absolutely suck. And I know In the book, now, did you go to a cemetery at one point?
Yes.
Yes. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, that was the time where I actually, before, that was kind of like my pre-EVP days.
Yeah.
We had a cemetery, and then if you're anybody out there familiar with Falls Church, at that time it was a pretty bustling metropolis, a suburb of DC. So you can imagine how busy it was even back then.
Oh yeah.
But this little church was on one of the streets, and it was like right on the street. It's like, you had the church, you had the cemetery, then you had the sidewalk, and then the main road. So it wasn't a very good place to actually place a tape recorder, but I ended up doing that anyway. And I don't really think I got anything. What I did get, I couldn't distinguish it from being a car passing or something like that. But that was like my first try, and that one was a Panasonic handheld tape recorder. Yeah, so that was my first foray into the EVP arena.
Yeah, we haven't used any of those with the cassette tapes. I mean, on investigation, I did use a video camera that still took cassette tapes. That was the very first one we ever used.
Wow!
And it absolutely worked amazing. Like, we got some good stuff on there because it had the night vision on it. So we still use it. It only lasts like 2 hours before the battery dies. So.
But that's normal. That's from battery life, not getting drained.
Yeah. Yep. I think you're cutting out just a little bit. I heard just a glitch. Okay.
Yeah. I'm here. We're having a horrible rainstorm.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So my internet's kind of cutting in and out, and I'm actually in the basement, so. Oh. Yeah. So I'm actually really not a very good connecting area. And like I said, when the weather changes around here, it kind of messes up the internet. I apologize for that.
That's okay. No worries. I'd rather take rain than the cold snow that we've been having lately here.
Yes.
Okay. We do have a couple questions. Darren in chat wants to know, how many books do you have out there that you've published?
I have one right now published, and I'm working on a second one.
Okay.
The one I'm working on now is going to be on Civil War ghosts.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to actually, I should rephrase that, battlefield ghosts, but it will deal with mostly Civil War ghosts with that. Just because I'm actually in the area. Northern Virginia has a ton of battlefields, so. I'm going to make my way up north and hit Gettysburg eventually and do kind of like a hopefully 2-part series of hitting. I got 4 or 5 battlefields in mind I'm working on right now, and then maybe move farther south and hit some of the southern ones to do a part 2. But that's what I'm working on right now, and hopefully that'll be out. I don't really have a date for it, so it's hopefully going to be later this year.
Okay. Yeah, Kim's all about that kind of stuff.
I'm into I love the Civil War stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a Civil War buff.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do this because I don't know. I've been hearing some things about some people have been doing, letting their ideas out of the bag and actually having other people take them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
what I'm going to do with this one is I actually have my let me show you my trusty Sony for my EVPs.
Yes.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up there with the camera and I'm going to go ask some questions on the battlefield and try and get some EVPs going and talk to some people and go from there and see what I can do and actually incorporate that and tie it in with the history of the battlefield, as well as hopefully getting spirit contact with it. So that's kind of where I'm going with that.
Awesome. And I know when you had wrote this book, you hadn't been on an actual investigation, correct?
Yes.
So will this be kind of like your first outing?
Yes, it will be. I'm actually talked to a few local groups, but I just for our schedules never mesh, and I can't get up with them, and they can't get up with me, and it's just kind of we're playing email tag, and I feel badly about that because I can't wait to do this, but it's just I'm just gonna have to go on my own because I just can't coordinate, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm excited about this.
That'll be absolutely awesome, and I'm sure it'll be, amazing. I bet you'll get a lot of stuff out there, so it's gonna be.
I definitely hope so. I'm so looking forward to that because I've actually been in some of these battlefields just as a visitor, but never doing this. So I'm excited about going back and doing this part.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. You'll have to make sure you post it or email me or something to let me know when it drops, so that way
Absolutely.
we can check it out.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Oh, so can I segue into that? Speaking of that, I want to. Yeah, I want to thank the people at Ozark Mountain Publishing for actually making this happen. This is a dream come true for me, publishing this book, and I want to thank all the diligence and the patience that everybody out there has, and to get this book out there. I really appreciate that. So I just want to thank them for being able to give me this opportunity to bring my experience to the masses.
Is that where your other book is going to be through too?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So then we can check out that website too, with your author page.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I'll make sure that I'll post that on our social media as well. So that way everybody can check out the book. The one that we're talking about tonight is Ghosts and Me, and then you'll be having that other one come out probably in the next year or so.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, with any kind of luck.
All right. So, going back to your book a little bit, you had talked about living with a witch. How was that? Like,
it had its ups and downs. I mean, as any relationship,
right.
Ashley, like I said, honestly, I'm still really good friends with her. So, and letting the cat out of the bag, she's a very gifted tarot reader, and she does read my tarot once in a while, and she's quite accurate. So, she actually predicted my book finally getting published, which was great. So, but yeah, it was interesting, and I really learned a lot from her, and I think a lot of the experiences that I had with her during that time had to do with her as well. Her energy brought a lot of paranormal things into the light, and coupled with the things that I didn't know I had, these abilities or whatever you want to call them. So it was a really interesting time. It was, again, we had our ups and downs like any relationship, but I really learned a lot from her, and I carry that to this day.
There's a question. Okay, yep, there's a question that just popped up here real quick. I'm going to ask it before I lose it. What do you fear the most of the paranormal?
Oh, wow, that is a great question. I've never, and again, I love doing these shows because I love talking, and I just love the subject, of course. Right. But I love the fact that every show that I do, I've gotten questions I've never heard before, and I love that because that makes me think, and then that's awesome. So thank you for that, because this is yet another one I've never been asked that before. Gosh, I would have to say, as much as I want to know certain things, I think I fear finding out. Does that sound weird?
No.
Because as much as I do have questions about everything that I've gone through, because there is really no definitive answer. I'm afraid, actually, if you find the definitive answer, it'll kind of be like a huge letdown. So I think that's kind of what I fear. I fear the fact that someone will actually have a breakthrough, and actually we will know, hey, EVPs are caused by this. Hey, these spirits do this. But at this point in time, nobody ever knows. Everything's just, speculation. So I fear the fact that something will actually be found where it'll be concrete.
Sorry, I'm going through here. chat is lagging a little bit, but we did have another question here real quick. And this is from Beyond Paranormal. Wants to know, is paranormal your passion, and if so, why?
Yes, I would have to say yes. And again, it's the unknown. It's trying to figure out why I heard footsteps at this age, why EVPs are the way they are, why things go crazy at work every night, that kind of thing. So yeah, I would have to definitely say I search for answers. And again, that's one thing I love about this field is that there are so many different opinions out there, and they're all very interesting, and they're all, you just don't know. And I think that the unknown is the one thing that I really enjoy. But yeah, this is definitely a passion. Trying to find out why, why me, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see here. Just checking here real quick before we go back, because I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about your experiences here. Okay, so going back to living with the witch, did you ever do any seances or participate in anything like that, or did you see any of that type of stuff?
Yeah, I actually covered that in the book. We did a channeling session that went horribly wrong. Basically what happened there is we had some friends that the one friend that we had, her boyfriend was a staunch disbeliever and just absolutely did not think anything about the parent. None of it existed. It was BS, all of that. So we did a channeling session to show him, hey, let's show him what this is really about. And we channeled something that it was something evil. I don't know quite what it was, but I know that it affected everybody, and myself included. My personality changed horribly from like a really easygoing, fun guy to like this depressed, angry, shut off person that I knew wasn't me. So what had happened is when we all saw this thing in our mind's eye at the same time, we kind of backed up and broke the circle. Well, whatever that did, that let this thing come out. So it affected all of us. Like I said, there was everybody had like things happen to them. Their cars broke down. They had terrible accidents. The boyfriend that didn't believe anything, they broke up. The couple broke up. And there was just a lot of things that went on. And again, for me, I was shutting myself off into my house. I was turning the phone off. I was like turning off all the lights, and everything was dark. And I just remember hopelessness and despair and all that. And that was not me at all. I remember one of my friends calling me and saying something like, in some monotone voice about not wanting to talk to you and then hanging up. And that was totally not me. So I told her, I said, something's wrong here. We've got to do something. And she's like, I'm sorry, we broke the circle and didn't close it. So, we went ahead and finally did that. And once that happened, everything got back to normal slowly. But that was something that to this day, I don't know, and again, I don't like using possession because I know that there is evil out there. I'm not sure about the devil or the demons, but I know that there is real evil in this world. But that thing was definitely evil, whatever it was. So that was one thing that I got to see firsthand, and I hope I never experience anything like that again, because that was really bad. That really scared me.
Yeah, that would be absolutely freaky. Like I don't know what to make of that. I've never really. I mean, we've done a seance, a group one, but we didn't have anything like that happen. But
no, the circle was never broken either.
No, it wasn't.
And they closed it, so.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that would be.
Yeah, you guys were quite lucky with that one. And like I said, I can't remember if I actually covered this in the book, but I tell people all the time, I think I actually do cover this, is Ouija boards.
Oh, yep.
For me, are something that if you don't know how to use it, leave it alone. Because those will lead to bad things. Actually, I have an experience in the book that happened where the Ouija board was used improperly, and that house still needs cleansed.
Oh, wow.
It's got and this is going to sound for some of the people really weird. When I walk in there, every corner has like black dust, and you can't see it, but I can see it. But it's residual crap left over from whatever was brought up by this thing, by the Ouija board. And I see this, and I have to go through there and cleanse it with sage. But it's still there in every corner. It hasn't gotten out of that house yet. So, that's one thing. Again, I don't know how many people every Halloween probably, let's go to the cemetery, that kind of thing. And God knows what they've unleashed. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff out there, and I'm not saying that they're all doing it, but it's just, I think a lot of people have a tendency to do that because they don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that goes for a lot of things. I mean, really, there's people out there practicing things that they really shouldn't be because they haven't,
Yeah. Well, just like this time, too, you could, if you're not really, how do I want to put this?
Uh-huh.
The way I look at it, if you're out there provoking
Right.
and stuff, what are you turning up if you're provoking and pissing them off?
Exactly. That too.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I hate when these ghost shows do that.
Uh-huh.
When they're like go in there and they start screaming and carrying on. And it's like, I want to tell them, I know that that's for ratings. I get that. Mm-hmm. But in my experience, they'll come to you. They're like human. They're human beings at one time. They're going to let you know when they want to contact you, not the other way around. And if something does come back at you from getting screamed at, it's probably not a human thing.
Yeah. It could possibly be. Yeah. All of a sudden, I just felt shaking, like Kim's floor feels like it's shaking all of a sudden. I don't know what it is. Like, it's like shaking underneath me. So I was like, what is that?
Has that ever happened before?
Not here.
Not here, has it?
Not here.
We're not prone to
I'm sorry.
earthquakes or anything around here.
I'm sorry, ladies. It's me. What can I say? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I have stuff happen a lot. Like, I grew up with the same things kind of like you have experienced, at a younger age. So I'm still kind of cope with all that. So every now and then I do have things pop up and, let them, they let them.
Well, they just want to be part of this. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
They just want to say, hey, what's up?
Right. Yep, that's right.
That or Louisa's still mad at you because you didn't say hi to her.
Oh, yeah. We have a doll that one of our friends had sent to Kim, and it's a very old doll. And they know how I like dolls. So, but I actually am very attached to this one, but I'm afraid to take her out because her legs are not in the best shape. So, yeah, she's probably mad because I didn't say hi to her at first when I got here, so.
That'll do it. Yeah, they have personalities.
Yeah.
That's another thing I never touched upon, but I firmly believe that you keep your personality when you pass. So if you're a jerk in life, you're going to be a jerk on the other side.
That's what I think too, honestly, and I think that's what a lot of people think, that they may be dealing with something demonic, but it could have been just a mean old fart.
Absolutely. I have, and I don't like talking ill of the dead, especially my family members, but my grandfather on my father's father was just really a nasty person. And I'm sure he's that way on the other side. Thank goodness I've never seen him or dealt with him, but he was really just a nasty human being in life, and I'm sure he's the same over there.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. All right, so tying in, we touched a little bit on the shows and things, but somebody had asked if you watch like the paranormal shows.
Yes, I do. I like the ones more. The ones that they tell the stories more so than like I think there's, I don't know, like My Haunted. I can't remember. There's a couple of them out there that I don't think they're on anymore. They're I think reruns or whatever, but they're the ones like My Haunted House or things where people actually tell their real stories of what happened to them. I like those much more so than the hunting shows. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, I do when I get the chance. And actually, Netflix, I think, and I don't know why I'm plugging them, but they actually, I think, have a couple good haunted shows coming up that I haven't checked out yet, but they're supposed to be coming up, so I want to check those out.
What are they called?
I think one's called like The Haunted, something like that. I believe it's is it that might I know
I think it's already
scrolling
out.
through Instagram I think I saw a commercial for it and I was like, oh hey, check it. And I didn't save it and I didn't write it down, but yeah, that's something that I'd definitely be interested in watching. But yeah, I try to stay away from the ghost hunting shows if I can. I like more of the real people telling their stories.
Right. Oh, let's see here. We have another one here. All right. If you come across a full body apparition, who would you want it to be, and what would you say?
Wow. Yeah, I love this because again, that's another question I've never gotten before. Wow. That's a tough one. Oh, okay. I got Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
And what was your inspiration for all your great stories?
Yeah, absolutely. I love Edgar Allan Poe. I used to read his stuff.
Yes.
He is distant relation. But yeah, I loved his stuff. It was
Yes. That's again, I often wonder because I've actually read a couple stories where his spirit is in different places where he lived, including a couple places here in Virginia, and it's just interesting to think because, like I said, if he got some of this inspiration from something that he saw, because I don't believe he ever saw. I don't believe with any of his writings that he ever said, "Well, I saw this go." But he had so much tragedy in his life. I have to wonder. Did somebody come visit him?
excuse me, sorry. A tickle in my throat. And the floor is shaking again, so I think Kim's on the ground now trying to investigate where this shaking is coming from.
You guys aren't having an earthquake or nothing, are you?
No. I live in Iowa.
Yeah, because I don't see anything in the background shaking. I don't...
Yeah, no, I don't know what it is. I have no idea. It just, all of a sudden, it'll just come and go, and it's like right under my chair. It just starts shaking.
You said this never has happened in with your other shows?
Not with the chair shaking. I mean, I've had stuff, we've had stuff move or, make noises and things, but never the floor shake.
Wow, that's a new one.
Kim doesn't feel it, but I do. Maybe if we switched chairs, she would feel it. I don't know. It's weird. Alright, let's see here. Another question here. I'm just going to get some of these out of the way here before I lose track. Do you believe in holy water, or is it just water?
Gosh, these are really good questions. Like I said, you have like a really great audience. I'm not just saying that honestly. That these questions are terrific. Like I said, that's one thing I love about these shows is that I've always get asked things I've never been asked before. No, I believe they are blessed because I do believe not so much in the God as we know it, but there is something. There has to be. I'm sorry, humans couldn't have created everything. So I do believe, and again, my thing is this: is I believe that the mind is very, very powerful. So if you believe something strong enough, it's going to happen. It's going to be. So if you're that priest and you're blessing that water through God, then that water is blessed, in my opinion. That's kind of the way I look at it. So yeah, it's not. It is just water until it's blessed. That's what I think. I'm not a Catholic, but.
Right. Nope, that's a good answer. All right, let's see here. We have another one. There it goes again. Sorry, it's crazy. Like it just.
No, that's fine. That's okay. I have a light to the right of me that's flickering on and off. So.
Oh, nice.
So I think they're doing their own communicating while we're doing ours. So.
I guess so.
Because my light doesn't do this, but it's doing it tonight. So.
That's crazy. My pen doesn't want to work. Here we go. All right. Let's see here. This is another question. What's the difference in investigating a Catholic cemetery versus a regular cemetery?
Wow. Honestly, that I have I can't answer that just for the fact that because I've never investigated either one. So again, I honestly don't have any expertise on that one way or the other. I mean, I know that's kind of a cheesy answer, but honestly, that's the truth. I've never investigated anything, so I can't really say.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to, pretend I know, but yeah, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't give an answer for that one.
That's fine because I wouldn't be able to either. I've never really. We haven't really investigated a whole lot of cemeteries. Only the one at Edinburgh, but that's it. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to answer it either, but that is not an issue. Let's see here. Okay, last one here. This is kind of a running question we have in every chat. What's the one object in the world you never want to be haunted?
The one object I don't want to be haunted? Wow, man, these are really good questions that kind of really, really make you think. I don't, nobody, because I would say my car, but I've already had a haunted car, so that's out.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, that's
yes. I had Christine. She was the Ford Thunderbird that didn't like the women in life.
Yep.
And she was definitely there. She definitely had some things going on there. I would have to say my computer. I mean, honestly, I think my computer. I don't think I'd like that to be haunted, and just start typing like "I will kill you" 5 billion times or something in a word program. So, yeah, I think it'd have to be a computer. That or the phone. The phone, which actually, these smartphones actually talk to you anyway. So.
Like, I mean, you could be talking about, Band-Aids, and then it'll show up on your social media, different types of Band-Aids.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've had interesting thing, and again, I'm not too quick to say paranormal, but my girlfriend is Alexa, and she comes on by herself once in a while. She just starts talking. Without being prompted, I'm always like, yeah, it's great. So I don't know. I've seen some things on the internet about, some things that Alexa said that they'll freak you out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I haven't really said anything freaky. It's just the fact that she'll come on without anybody prompting her, and you're like, what are you doing on? And then she'll start talking. It's like, okay. So, yeah. But again, it's me. So, I'm kind of unfortunately used to these things.
Yeah, I would say you are because, just about, like I said, in the book you talk about the different places that you have lived and things and the different experiences you've had in each of these locations, which is just incredible. Like, I mean, so yeah, I mean, like you're like a magnet.
Yeah, I definitely have learned that much. Is that I think I'm empathic. I have learned that much, and I think that's probably one of the major reasons that these things happen. I think I put this in the book, but I always say that is that I'm like the beacon at the motel on the side of the road that lights up. That's vacancy. So for me, it's wherever I am. So hey, he can hear and see us. Let's go over and see him. Right. There's a lot of transient spirits that I've dealt with. So. I think they either it's the aura or they just know, and it's just like they make a beeline for you, and it's just like, oh, he can hear and see us, he's okay. So yeah, that's
Excuse me. Tickle again. Now I lost my train of thought since I just had that tickle in my throat. I was going to say something. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I mean, I know that you can sense, spirits and things, but do they, like, come actually talk to you? Do you hear them? Do you ever, like, see flashes of images or anything like that?
Yeah, usually at work. Like I said, my workplace is very active. I'm actually a substance abuse counselor, so I work in a residential treatment facility, which I think is a catalyst for a lot of this. And I go into that in the book about the weaker spirits and some of the negativity that people bring into that facility because of the things that they've been through. And I've actually, I think I put in there, we have a community room that leads up to the beds that comes back from the staff office. You have to cross that to go upstairs. It's like walking in quicksand sometimes. The negativity is so thick that it's like walking in quicksand. But they do. They make their presence known vocally. Just different things. Like I've heard hay numerous times, and there's nobody around. So they don't. I don't want to say talk to me directly because I don't think they've really done that. But like I said, they'll make themselves known vocally to me. And again, this has been corroborated with other people I've worked with. So it's I know I'm not crazy because they've heard the same thing.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, I was working with a coworker, and the way we have it set up is we have a long table in the staff office, and she was sitting facing me, and then the back behind her we have the hallway with all the staff, with all our coworkers' offices, and like a little corridor back there. I don't know what was going on, but it was crazy that night. I mean, we kept hearing footsteps, doors closing, books dropping, voices. And she was like, Kevin, I'm going to the other side. I can't deal with this anymore. There's something here. I said, I know. You heard all that too. You're fine. I'm here. She said, well, I know you are, but I'm not. This is really unnerving me. I need to go to the other side. So she left. I don't know. It was around New Year's, so I don't know if they were bringing in the new year, but it was for like 45 minutes. It was just continuous, like just all sorts of just stuff. And this was like, 2-3 o'clock in the morning when nobody else is on the floor but us.
That is nuts. And then you have, I was reading, don't you have some that just kind of ignore it and pretend that there's nothing really going on at your work?
Oh, yeah, because they don't want to be labeled crazy, and I understand that, and that's fine. And again, that's their prerogative, and I get it. But yeah, we have people that doesn't happen to them, but it does. And they won't admit to it. Or right. I've gotten a few where they'll when other people are around, oh, I don't believe in that, and then when they're by themselves, oh, hey Kevin, by the way, ... I was like, I know. So they're afraid to speak up in front of their coworkers, but when we're alone, all of a sudden, hey Kevin, I heard this. Yeah, I know you did. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be kind of interesting working in a place, I think, that you had activity in all the time.
Come to my work.
Yeah. Go to Kim's work.
There's always a guy standing there.
I don't have anything like that in my profession, unfortunately. It'd make my day a lot more exciting, I think.
He hasn't spoke or anything, but he just stands there and stares at you.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
Oh, wow. Those are the good ones. Yeah, those are the ones, those are the ones that they know you're there. Mm-hmm. I've had a couple of those that they knew I could see them, and they didn't want any parts of me. But they knew, like, I could see and hear them, and they were like, they didn't know how to take me, and they kind of stayed away. But those are the interesting ones, yeah.
I do have another question here. Let's say if you get a choice to pick a team to do an investigation with, who would you want it to be, and where would you investigate?
Oh, wow. Gosh, again with these good questions. Now, I don't. Do they? See, I don't. I'm trying to think. Would it be picking my own team, or would it be an existing team? Because I honestly don't know. I mean, I know teams, but I don't know a lot of personal ones. So, would it be picking from just people that I know, or would it be
do that, or if there's an actual team that you know, however you want to put it.
Okay. All right. Well, I actually have a couple people in mind, and we've actually discussed this because I have a huge bucket list of places I want to go investigate. I think it would be once my team was assembled, it would be a toss-up between the Stanley Hotel and the Myrtles Plantation.
Oh, yeah.
I think those would be the first two, or the one in West Virginia, the penitentiary. I've been there, but not to investigate. Mm-hmm. What is the name of Moundsville? Sorry, Moundsville. Yeah. So it'll be between those three.
And those are good ones. Very good ones. I'd like to go to the Stanley Hotel. Never been. I'd like to go. Mm-hmm. Be interesting to see it.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Is do you think? Can I ask a question now?
Sure, absolutely.
Sure. Okay, because this is again, I haven't talked to too many investigators before, really. Mm-hmm. So my question is this: if you go to a place like, say, the Villisca House,
yep,
that has been like investigated like 5 to 10 times, maybe half a year, do you think that actually increases or decreases the activity in a place? Because I've seen several different things on where people have said that they went in, they got nothing, and then another team will go in 3 weeks later, and all hell breaks loose, and they have all these EVP. And to me, it's just kind of baffling. I kind of wonder if that takes away from it, because some investigators have said that they've gone back so much that the spirits know them by name, which I can totally understand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I think places do get worn out a little bit if there's too many people coming through. If it's...
Or if they've gotten pissed off at people, they won't answer you.
Yeah, or if sometimes if they've gotten upset or have had enough, they're not going to answer you. Maybe it's because there's somebody in that team that they're not willing to communicate with. They kind of communicate with you if they want to. So, they don't always come out on command, I don't think. We've been to places where, there might be people investigating there every night for like a week, and then you go there and it's like silent. And you're like, okay. But, you get different things every time you go.
And then we turn around 2 weeks later and go back,
and it's totally different.
Jumping.
So sometimes I think it also... it depends on the energy that's there too. Like, who's been traveling through there? What have they stirred up? We've been to places where, it may have been quiet one time, and then we came in, and the energy in that place is totally different, and it's a little more darker. And I think it just depends on who was there prior to you also. If that makes sense.
Like I said, I was wondered about that. That totally makes sense to me, because again, I think it's kind of like anything else. Like I said, if you go into a place, like you go into a workplace and you see people sitting around a table and you just start screaming at them, well, of course you're going to get something screaming back at you. Mm-hmm. So I figure that it's the same thing in the spirit realm. If you go in there, with you try to stir people up by screaming at them or provoking, as they call it, I guess, then that's probably going to be different. I always wondered about that, how that works. But again, in my belief, I think because human spirits are personality like anyone else. You have shy ones, angry ones, happy ones, sad ones. So you're always going to get the same kind or whatever you get. So I think it's and just like human beings. So that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pop that that off. The thing came up for an update. I was like, what? No, we're not doing an update right now.
The floor's still shaking?
It hasn't for the last, 3 minutes. So we'll see.
Good, my light's not blinking either. They must have gotten settled.
They must have. Absolutely. Let's see here. Got that one. Just making sure. I just want to make sure I get everybody's questions here. I try to do that. Let's see. What are your views on pregnant women going on an investigation and the chance of the woman or baby getting possessed?
Oh, wow. Wow, again, these are some great questions. Like I said, again, I can't reiterate how much I love these shows because of this. I think it's possible. Absolutely. Depending on the place and what alleged spirits in there, I think anywhere you go, you should be protected. That's just my, if you're going to go somewhere, you should have some, like for me, with my ex that was a witch, we did protection spells. And she still does those for me now, which is kind of cool because I've actually needed those. Uh-huh. So I think you need some sort of level of protection. And I think, honestly, if the investigation place is going to be dangerous physically, you shouldn't go if you're pregnant. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. Like I said, because I know there's some places that healthy people who are not pregnant shouldn't go because they're rickety and you can't see. And, right. You might fall down a shaft or something, or just things like that. You have to really watch what you're doing. But yeah, I think anything's possible because I mean, honestly, if you go to a place, let's say a Victorian mansion, mm-hmm. that back in the 1800s where a young girl was pregnant and she jumped out of the window and died, and that's the spirit that haunts the place. Well, if I'm that and I see, I'll pick up that energy. I'll be upset. I'll be like, oh, she has a baby, I don't. I'm going to make a beeline for that person, and that could be dangerous. They don't mean to, I don't think, but anything's possible, and you just have to protect yourself. So that'd be anywhere really, but yeah, if you're a pregnant woman, you definitely, I think have to protect yourself no matter what.
And plus, some places have a lot of mold and things.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd want to be breathing that in, but that's just. I mean, if it was a clean place and you didn't think anything was going to happen, then, I wouldn't see anything. But, places that are going to be dangerous or mold, I'm not too sure about. We had that one time when we first started out. A gal that was part of our team, she was pregnant. And we were just kind of like, some of these places we're going, are kind of moldy, have black mold and stuff, and we really don't think you should go to those places.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a huge concern. That black mold. Yeah, that's some nasty stuff.
Yeah. Let's see here. Beyond Paranormal's wanting to know from anyone, so including you, since you can't see chat, have you ever really seen anyone possessed, actually possessed?
I'm trying to think. I don't know if possessed is quite the word, but I don't know if you remember in the book where I talk about one of my exes. Right. And again, since it's in the book, but we were, feeling amorous. Uh-huh. Yeah. And her eyes turned black. I mean, dead black. And that scared the hell out of me, and I backed away, and I got cold chills because her eyes totally went black, and that's never happened before. She doesn't remember any of that, but I sure do. I don't know what that was about. Right. And she had a lot of negative energies. I put in the book, she was a very negative person. Mm-hmm. She had a lot of dark energy with her. I don't want to say possessed, but I don't, like I said, and I can't explain it in the book either to this day. I mean, she doesn't even remember it, of course, but I do. But that's, I think, the closest that I've ever been to what somebody could label a possession, because it was just like in the in the ghost shows where their eyes turn pure black. That's exactly what she did. So I don't know what that was about, but that's the closest I've been to is that, and that was enough. I don't want to, but yeah, that was pretty frightening.
Yeah, no, that would, I don't know what I would do if I was talking to somebody and their eyes turned black. I don't know. I'd probably run, honestly.
It was not fun, actually, not at all. It was, and it only lasted for a few seconds and they went back to normal, but it was clear that they just went black. And it was like, and like I said, some of the subsequent things that we went through, I'm convinced that she had some sort of dark energy with her from some of the things that she had done before I even known her. So she's she had some a lot of darkness around her.
Yeah, and I do remember you talking about that in the book. So again, before we start wrapping everything up again, the book that's out there is Ghosts and Me, and where can they find it again?
They can find it at ozarkmountain.com, amazon.com, barnesandnoble.com, and pretty much anywhere you can buy books online. And I think actually Barnes & Noble has that in stock inside, and I believe Walmart has it also.
Awesome.
And again, and I put this in the book, and again, I love these kind of questions. I love interacting with people. If anybody wants to talk about spirits or anything else, hit me up at KKILLEN, B as in boy, T as in Tom, at gmail.com. That's my email address. I just love to talk about these things. So please, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or just whatever, just drop me a line and let's chat.
Perfect. Yep. And if you send me all your information, I mean, I know I have your Instagram and stuff in your email, but anything else, if you send it to me, we can post it on our social media too, so that way they know how to get a hold of you as well.
Excellent.
Let's see.
Yeah, and thank you for all the promos this week. That was great.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. No
That
problem.
was great. I really enjoyed seeing those because it was nice. Scrolling through Instagram. Hey, there I am. Hey, that was great. Yeah.
Well, we try to promote the best we can. Sometimes get a little busy and crazy, but yeah, we like to get our guest names out there and things. So.
Well, you did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see here. We do have another question here. How would you protect yourself while you're investigating? Like, what would you use?
Okay. I actually have a couple blessed charms that I use. I actually have a Celtic cross that I have as a necklace, and I also have Blarney stone that's actually been blessed by an Irish witch. And what else do I have? I've got a couple protection stones. I can't think off the top of my head, but I have a lot of protection stones that I have with me, that I would definitely take with me. And also, I know a lot of people pray, which is awesome. I personally don't. But I would be more than, I'd come into a place and basically say, hey, we're not here to harm you. We're here to help, and basically just let them know, hey, we're not going to mess with you or whatever. We're just here to find out some things and kind of just put them at ease. So that's kind of been something that's actually, I know it's not much protection, but actually you'd be surprised at how much protection it really is. Letting them know that you come in peace and you're not here to mess around with them, and I think they respond well to that.
I agree. Excuse me. This tickle in my throat. It's going to be the death of me. Let's see here. Just scrolling through here real quick to make sure there's no more questions before we start to wrap up again. Here. So I'm going to give shout outs real quick to everybody who was in chat. We had myself, we had Darren, we had Shay, We had Christopher, we had Beyond Paranormal, we had Matt, Christopher, we had Lewis, Kim was in here at one point, Mom Deb was in here. We had quite a few chats tonight, so thank you everybody for being very interactive tonight. Awesome questions as always from everybody. We'd like to thank our guest Kevin Killen for being on and sharing his book Ghosts and Me. So make sure you check it out. Like I said, we'll post the information on social media on where you can find this book and any information that you want, so you can get in touch with Kevin if you want to talk about the paranormal. Also be keeping a lookout for his new book in the future. That's going to be awesome, about the battle ghosts. So stay tuned for that as well. And next week, Kim, who do we have?
Christy Williams. Very good live productions she's from, and she owns the Stevens House in Nebraska.
Alright, so make sure you guys tune in for that, and thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you, absolutely. Just hang on one second.
Thank you for listening to REP Paranormal and Friends. Be sure to check out Kim and Allison on Facebook at REP Paranormal Busters.